Deidra and her guests will be discussing how to develop your style, health, and lifestyle hacks to energize your day and inspire you to keep reaching higher levels of success. Deidra is a professional fashion stylist, health guru, and Mrs. Washington 2017. It's time to get open and honest with Deidra.
Hello and welcome to today's episode. I'm glad you're here. So, if you follow me on social media, I have a platform on Facebook called Miss Style, Strength, and Grace, which is all about, style and fashion as well as health and fitness, and then also rolled into one with my platform of being Mrs. Washington. I love to give just lots of inspirational stories and content and come live to my audience at least twice a week via Facebook Live. And the two times that I'm guaranteed to be on Facebook Live are Mondays and Wednesdays. And Mondays is what I like to call Mondays in the mirror. The reason I call it that is because it's a chance for me to look back on the past week, specifically usually the weekend, but it can vary, on my self-reflection. So it's not about how do I look in the mirror? It's not about physical aspects or even what you might think with style and fashion and looking in the mirror. It's about self-reflection. I love to journal a lot. If you've listened to my podcast, you have probably heard that I'm an avid journaler. So these are a lot of things that I've either wrote down and journaled about that I love to share because I feel like it has a relevant meaning to my listeners, both on Facebook and other avenues that people have found me. So recently I shared a Monday in the Mirror on Facebook Live, and I talked about kind of a funny situation with a medicine ball. And rather than re-record the whole thing just to kind of share the same message, I figured why not just share that audio from my Facebook Live with you on today's episode on the podcast. So I apologize if the audio isn't the greatest. It was recorded, like I said, via Facebook Live on my phone while I was on the go. A lot of these messages come to my audience while I'm sitting in my car or sitting in my kitchen with my laptop out. So again, excuse the crude format of the audio, but I think the message will be very relevant to you as I talk about what I shared that night. If you're interested in other episodes, I also come to you live on Facebook on Wednesdays for what I call Wellness Wednesday, and I either share some sort of health or nutrition hack or natural home remedy that I found, or even a fitness movement of the week, whatever I'm kind of feeling. I share on Wednesdays or Wellness Wednesdays on Facebook Live, so I hope that you can find those there too. If you like this, I hope that you go to iTunes and leave a review, or if you have a question, head over to iTunes and leave your review with a question in the comments there, and I will be sure to feature your answer on an upcoming episode. And I hope you enjoy today's little message.
Hey everybody, finally coming live to you. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to actually come at you live. Last week I recorded the video and I kept trying to post it and I was having technological difficulties, so I just posted the video later. Anyway, so tonight is Monday in the Mirror and I am sharing a little self-reflection story, and I know I put in the caption Deidra versus a med ball. What the heck can Deidra be talking about when she's talking about a 14-pound med ball, and what does it have to do with life? What kind of a lesson can a med ball teach you? Well, let me share. So I've been getting a little bit bored with my workouts, just kind of getting to that point where it's what do I want to do? I need to push myself because I'm not training for a half marathon anymore. I'm not training to be on stage in a swimsuit anymore. So I'm what do I need to do? And I don't know, I was just bored, so I went back to my old training program from last summer that Whitney Tweed, who is awesome, made me as I prepped for Mrs. America. So she sent it to me early July last year, and it was like a 6-week program, I think, to train me for Mrs. America. So I started that out, and I was I'm still lifting as heavy as I was back then, probably even a little bit more now that I'm not doing as low of a caloric intake. I'm up to my calories so I can lift heavier now. Anyway, so I went back to one of my training programs and it was a leg day, and so I'd already done front squats and I think deadlifts and a couple other things. And in this particular training day, she had me originally doing 100 wall balls. Now, if you're not familiar with what I mean by a wall ball, it's this giant med ball, and it's those ones that you would see at like a CrossFit gym. I have a 14-pounder. My husband has a 20-pounder. I stick to the 14-pounder, and you literally have the ball in front of your face, and you do a squat, and then you toss the med ball as high as you can. I can't remember the actual height that women are supposed to get to, but I want to say it's like 10 feet or whatever to be like an actual rep in like CrossFit. Now, granted, I work out usually by myself, so I just try and get it as high as I can. And there's a certain level on our wall that I hit it towards and hit that mark, and I know that it's like high enough to count as a full rep. Anyway, even last summer when I was doing this program, I split them up and I do groups of 10. Just for whatever reason in my mind, 10 groups of 10 sounds a lot easier than 100. So there's kind of a little tip for you too. Like if ever you're looking at, oh, you need to do 50 squats or 100 push-ups or whatever it is, maybe just break it down into chunks, and that way your brain can process it a little bit easier and feel like you can actually accomplish those things. Like if I was to tell myself, oh yeah, I'm going to do 50 squats today at 95 pounds, like I'd be like, ugh. But if I tell myself, oh, I'm going to do 5 sets of 10 squats each, oh, okay, I can do that. So to me, 10 sets of 10 wall balls sounds a lot more doable than 100 wall balls. Anyway, so I wrote out my workout and I'm like doing it, and I had done 8 of the 10 sets, and I'm like, I'm gonna call it good. I'm gonna move on to some abs and then call it good for my workout today. I'm already kind of wrecked and I haven't done this workout in a long time. And anyway, I put my med ball away on the shelf, and we have this shelf that my husband built, and on one side is his med ball and the other side is my med ball on the shelf that's like against the wall, built into the wall itself there. So I'm starting to do abs, and pretty soon the med ball falls off the shelf, rolls toward me creepily, and just kind of is like staring me down. The little 14 pounds, I swear, was beating its little eyes at me on this giant workout ball. And finally I was like, all right, universe, I hear you. I'll do my last 2 sets of 10 and finish the 100. Because in my mind I was like, I'm not training for anything in particular. Like, I don't have to do those last 2 sets, and why not? Like, nobody's gonna know. Because last year, you know, when I was training, like, Whitney was checking in with me every week, like, how's your program going? Like, I was sending her progress pictures and selfies, because she actually lives in Bellevue, Washington, which is about 3.5 hours away from where I live. And so I was always constantly having that accountability. And, you know, right now I don't have anybody like keeping me accountable. Nobody's like, Deidra, did you get your workout in? Deidra, how are your macros? Like, so I didn't do those last 2 sets, and the med ball rolled toward me as I was doing some ab workouts on my ab mat, and I was like, fine. So I did those last 2 sets, and I got to thinking about it later. I'm like, you know what? When you cut yourself short, or you cut corners, or you cheat your way through things, you're only cheating yourself, right? Like, we all know that. You know, I used to be a teacher. I used to tell the kids that, like, hey, if you're cheating on your assignment, you're only cheating yourself. If you're looking at your neighbor's answers, you might be able to write down the correct answer on your paper, but you're not learning the material, and that's what's more important. So you're only cheating yourself. And yes, I get it. Universe, lesson learned. I was only cheating myself by not including those last 2 sets, and really it was only 2 more sets. Like, I did 10, I went back to abs for a couple of seconds, and then I went back and did the last 10, so at least I broke it up and I finished it. And yes, my legs were burning by the end of that day, and they were really sore the next day, but I did it. So I want to just encourage you tonight to not cut corners in your own life. You know, whether it's something in your house, like, don't cut the corners, even if it's just like, hey, we need to scrub the bathtub. Like, make sure you really put that elbow grease in there and get it clean, so you're not cheating yourself later when you do go want to take that relaxing bath. Like, you know that your bathtub is perfectly clean. Or if it's something in your office or your work setting or your own personal business, if you're an entrepreneur, like, if you cut corners, especially as a business owner or an entrepreneur, like, you're only cheating yourself. And I think that was like the universe's way of reminding me of that, because lately I just been like, oh, I've got to get this done and that, and get this appearance in for Mrs. Washington while also getting stuff done for the program book. You know, it's like my last farewell letter or this or that, and like rather than just trying to like skimp and save where I can, like remembering that only cheating myself if I cut corners. So I hope that you don't cut corners and don't cheat yourself, whether it's like in your workouts too. You know, nobody might know whether or not you're doing that last set of squats or whether you're getting that last, mile on your run. Nobody's going to know but yourself, but you're going to feel better not only by doing it, but you're going to see the results in the long run too. Week after week after hitting all those workouts and getting them all in, that's when you're going to have the weight loss that you're wanting, or the physique results that you're desiring, or even like the food that you're eating. If you sneak those little cookies and nobody's seeing you, whether it's your midnight snack, like nobody might know, nobody's keeping you accountable for it because nobody can see you in the middle of the night or during the day, but you're only cheating yourself, right? Anyway, I hope that encourages you on Monday in the Mirror tonight. Tomorrow I've got a fun Trendy Tuesday coming at you, and this weekend in Moses Lake, if you're in Eastern Washington, is the big Moses Lake Festival, and on Saturday night specifically is the Moonlight Parade, which is one of my favorite events. We actually have the parade in the evening, and so all of the floats and people walking in the parade and the bands and everybody has like things lit up, and even the crowd has glow sticks and stuff like that, so it's a lot of fun. Although in Eastern Washington, actually in Washington in general, the sun doesn't set till almost 9 o'clock, so it'll be a late night. The parade probably won't start till about 8:30 or so, and it's just a lot of fun, especially in that small community, because everybody comes out for it, and it's just packed with people lining the streets. It's Teresa hopes that I'll go live during the parade. I will try probably beforehand, not so much during the parade, because we're actually going to be walking it. So myself and Mrs. Washington contestants, the ladies that are going to be vying for my crown in June, and former queens, we will all be walking through the parade, so we'll have a little bit more interaction with you all if you're there in person. I know my nephews are going to be there, so I'll have to wave to them in the crowd too, so check that out. Thanks for asking about that, Teresa. And then I can't think if there's anything coming up on Sunday. Probably not. I think I'm going to actually take a Sunday and just like chill. We're going to be at my in-laws' house on that day to celebrate Memorial Day weekend. So I hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend, and I will see you again live on Wellness Wednesday, and I hope you all have a great rest of the night. Mwah! Oh, I'm Mrs. Washington, Teresa. So myself as Mrs. Washington will be walking through the parade in Moses Lake, and then, like I said, the contestants, a few of them that kind of live in the area that are competing for my crown on June 23rd will also be walking. And thanks for commenting, Teresa. Y'all have a great rest of the night. I love you all. Mwah!
Hey ladies, thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. To help empower more women, please be a doll and rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. For show notes and other free resources we mentioned today, go to StyleByDeidra.com.